If you have a new 4th gen 2024 and up Toyota Tacoma and want to change your own oil, then this detailed beginner's guide is going to give you everything you need to know, including all the tools and supplies you'll need, how to change your oil, and how to reset your oil maintenance reminder. For people who've watched my channel, no, I did not go truck shopping. This is my buddy Ryan and his beautiful 2025 Toyota Tacoma. Doing vehicle maintenance is fairly new to you, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So I grew up, my grandpa changed all of his own oil and stuff, and I just never did. And this is my first truck I've ever owned, and I wanted to learn more about it and be able to change my own oil whenever I wanted to.
You had a couple other questions that I thought would be really helpful for other people too.
During the oil change, I'll show you how to secure your truck on jack stands safely, how to recycle your used motor oil for free, and explain why so many, including myself, say to change your oil every 5,000 miles on your Tacoma, not 10,000 miles like in the Toyota service checklist or the Toyota Care program.
So we're gonna cover all that together, Ryan, and by the end of this video, you and all of you are gonna be ready to change your own oil on your Tacoma for the rest of your natural lives.
Thanks, Jason.
Let's go.
All the tools and supplies you'll need are listed and linked for you down in the description. For tools, you'll need metric sockets, a 3/8 ratchet, and a 3/8 extension, a 3/8 torque wrench, a drain pan, funnel, oil filter wrench, a rag, and protective gear like safety glasses and gloves.
So Ryan, one of the things I've learned after doing my own maintenance now for about 15 plus years or so is if you have good tools, they make the job easier and more fun. And if it's more fun, you're more likely to want to actually do it yourself. So I got a couple of special tools for you that I want you to keep. And by the way, none of these are sponsored, everybody, starting with this oil pan. So this is a slightly over a 4-gallon size oil pan. And I really like this one because I love how deep it is. Oil can sometimes shoot into the pan and then right back out of it and then go all over the floor and all over you. So I really like this one. Also, we have a couple tools over here from Motivex Tools, which is actually out of Washington State. They have their oil filter wrench, and this will work exactly right for your vehicle. And actually, I have this exact same one. Whether you have an oil filter housing or a spin-on filter like you can use the same filter wrench, and this would work on most Toyotas. Same thing with the funnel. This actually screws right into the oil filler cap area, so you don't have to worry about spilling oil all over your engine, which isn't fun.
Supplies for this job are very simple. You'll need 6 quarts of 0W20 full synthetic oil that meets IL-SAC GF6A specifications, a Toyota oil filter part number 90915YZZN1, and a drain plug gasket, part number 90430120031.
So Ryan, some recommendations on oil. Again, I don't have any sponsorships with any of this stuff, but for me, the two most affordable options that were like really high quality stuff would be Mobil 1. This one was $34 for 6 quarts at Costco. And another option that I've used many times in the past is Haviland Pro DS 0W20. You can actually get a 6-quart box of that, usually at Walmart for around $28 to $29. So either of those, when I purchased this oil filter for you, I'm like, that part number sounds really familiar. And the funny thing about it is that Toyota has used this for many decades, including, I have a 1998 Toyota RAV4 that I'm building with my daughter to eventually be her first car. It uses this oil filter. Lifting your truck onto jack stands. So Ryan, I would say you do have enough clearance here that if you didn't want to raise your truck and put it on jack stands, you probably could do the entire oil change on the ground as is. But to have more room to work, it isn't a bad idea. And if you guys are interested in how to do that, this is how to do it safely.
You're going to need wheel chocks and a properly rated floor jack and jack stands. Make sure your truck is in park with the parking brake on. Block the rear wheels with wheel chocks to prevent the truck from moving.
So as we're lifting the vehicle up, do not go underneath it until we're completely secure on jack stands. This is kind of the only risky time. Once everything is secure, you got your parking brake on, it's going to be very secure and safe.
Use a properly rated floor jack to lift the truck from the frame. The owner's manual states this should be done on the frame right behind this crossmember. Slowly lower the frame onto the properly rated jack stand as close to the lifting point as possible, and make sure the frame is centered correctly onto the top of the stand.
I put it here. Honestly, you could also put it right here, and this has less restrictive stuff around it. So I would say either put it here or here. I put it here for personal preference, but putting it there would work too.
Carefully do one side and then do the other.
Now, as you see, I'm using 6-ton jack stands, and I would highly recommend that you do that as well. Sometimes you can get 5 or 6 ton. Either of those is fine over something like a 3-ton stand. Even though you don't want to just think about the weight rating, you also want to think about how nice and wide the base of this is versus this. This is fine to work on a small car, but when it comes to trucks and SUVs or anything bigger, I would go 6-ton and not go any smaller.
If you want to lift the rear as well, lift from the middle of the rear differential and place your stands underneath the rear axle as close to the ends as possible. This is what I do if I'm also doing a tire rotation while doing an oil change. Let's get this oil change done. Warm oil drains faster and more efficiently, so start your engine and run it for about 5 minutes, and then turn it off. Remove the front 2 plastic shields with a 12mm socket.
So Ryan, just looking at the things we're gonna have to work with here, here's your oil filter, spin-on oil filter. This is more DIY friendly than the old cartridge housing system had to be. I also like that there's a spout, so hopefully when the oil drips out, it won't get all over this. Over here we have our oil pan drain plug, so we're gonna take that out to drain the old oil out. But I gotta say, Toyota, very home mechanic, DIY friendly. I like how this looks, it's pretty cool.
Remove the oil drain plug with a 14mm socket and let the oil drain into a pan. If the old gasket doesn't come off, use a plastic pry tool to remove it from the oil pan. You can now remove the oil filler cap, allowing the oil to flow quickly. Allow the oil to drain fully, and then reinstall the drain plug with a new gasket. Torque to 30 foot-pounds.
That was it.
Use the oil filter wrench and ratchet to remove the old spin-on oil filter, making sure to catch the drips with a drain pan.
And so when it comes off, you can turn it upside down and just empty it into the pan, so make sure it doesn't like spill on yourself. Well, that spout definitely helps, but it still gets a little bit of stuff on the on the frame there.
Hey, if you're enjoying this video, hit that like button, subscribe, and let me know down in the comments if you're doing your first oil change ever. And thanks to my channel members for supporting these videos. Members get early access to videos and shoutouts. Ryan is actually my first member ever. Getting personal oil change help usually isn't one of the perks, but hey, you never know. Make sure the oil filter mating surface is clean before installing a new one. Remove the plastic liner from the new filter and pre-fill with oil, but only a little bit because it gets installed horizontally. Lubricate the new filter's O-ring with clean oil. Install the new oil filter, but only hand tighten the filter on. Over tightening the filter makes them extremely difficult to remove next time.
So maybe, you know, with one hand and then maybe a little tight with two, and that's it. Perfect.
It's time to pour in the new oil with a funnel. Pro tip, pour in your oil holding the bottle sideways to prevent it coming out unevenly. Pour in the new oil until it reaches the first mark on the dipstick, usually about 5 quarts.
How many quarts is that, Ryan?
That would be 5 quarts.
Okay, so we are already right at the low mark, which is right here, and we want to get to essentially as close to the second mark without going over.
Run the engine for about 30 seconds and check for leaks. If everything looks good, it's time to set our final oil level. Reinstall those 2 plastic covers and lower the vehicle back onto level ground. Now pour in new oil until you reach the full mark on the dipstick, usually 5.9 quarts.
Oh, oil change done.
Woohoo!
You did it. He did it, not me.
There was a lot of help from him.
Maybe.
Last step for the oil change is resetting our oil maintenance reminder in the truck. Use the steering wheel controls to navigate to the settings menu with the cog icon. Hit select. Use the down arrow to go to vehicle settings, and then down a ways to oil maintenance. And then finally hit yes to reset the reminder. And now our oil change is done. Let's wrap up this video by answering some great questions that Ryan had for me as a first-time DIY mechanic.
So
Why are we disposing of the oil in this canister?
So what I do is I like this 5-gallon, it's like a food grade 5-gallon jug, and I collect my used motor oil in this jug, and then I go and recycle it for free. There are a lot of places where you can get it recycled for free, a lot of auto parts stores, O'Reilly's, AutoZone. I think you can do up to 5 gallons a day is the law in Washington State. So other places might be different, but yeah, you can get it recycled there for free. For instance, here in Washington, our local dump has a site where you can go and recycle, go and get this emptied there for free. And also you can take stuff like used old brake fluid as well. Antifreeze, all sorts of stuff like that. Because of your tax dollars, you can recycle stuff for free.
Why do we want to change the oil every 5,000 miles? I took it in for my Toyota Care. They said I can change the oil at 10,000 miles. Why do I want to do it 5?
That's a great question, and it's definitely a question that I've gotten a lot in comments online, and I got a couple basic notes, and we're also going to have more resources for you down in the description. So first off, actually, if you read Toyota's owner's manual and checklist, it's kind of like 10,000 miles if you're in like kind of like the best case scenario, right? For instance, and the owner's manual says if you drive on dusty roads or if you do a lot of severe service of your truck, like a lot of towing, which I know you do at least a little bit of.
I do a little bit of towing, yeah.
They actually recommend at that point in the owner's manual to do 5,000 mile intervals right there. You have this awesome new 4-cylinder turbocharged engine, which is very powerful, but also turbochargers are more susceptible to being prematurely worn out if you have oil contamination or starvation. So if you have like really dirty oil, and your oil did look kind of dirty, man.
A little muddy, yeah, for sure.
So at 10,000 miles, if you have any oil consumption, which is a very normal thing to happen on Toyotas and many other vehicles, like I had an older RAV4 once that had pretty bad oil consumption where like between every oil change, I had to add like almost a quart of oil. I'm sure you're not gonna have it that bad, but if it does happen, then your turbocharger wears out. If your turbocharger wears out, you're gonna have a very expensive bill, and we just don't want that. There's another YouTube creator who's also a master technician and a shop owner named the Car Care Nut. And he has several really good, highly detailed videos about why you want to change your oil with especially these new turbocharged engines at 5,000 miles or 6 months. Whichever comes first, you know, you invested a lot of money into this beautiful truck, and I want you to keep it for hundreds of thousands of miles, not just to get out of the warranty, right? So that's why I say, and a lot of other people say that are a lot smarter than me, change your oil at 5,000 miles. Final thoughts, Ryan?
Not as hard as I thought it would be.
No?
It was a cool process. Learning the safety parts, so that was the thing I was most uncomfortable about, was just like, how do you get your truck up without crushing yourself underneath it? You know, that's important safety.
Yeah. And if any of you have any other first-time oil change questions or other general maintenance questions, please leave them down in the comments below. Till next time, God bless all of you, and don't forget to do it yourself. Yeah, that was really easy.
Yeah.
That's easier than mine. It's not fair.